The mess is already here. The messiness is already started. It's already started. Indiana Fever, y'all got nobody to blame but yourselves. You should have thought about this before you made the decision that you made. We now have people analyzing the Indiana Fever handshakes at practice.
The mess has already started. We're not even into regular season games yet, and the Indiana Fever have created a social media firestorm over a handshake line. Not a trade, not a coaching decision, a handshake line at practice. And this is exactly what happens when a front office doesn't think through the full implications of their roster decisions.
This is nonsense. This is crazy, man. Let's take a look. Okay, for one, that's Caitlin Clark right there. Raven Johnson's hand isn't even out. So it's not like her hand was right there and she dubbed her. That's not what happened. That's not what I see. She put her hand out after for Aaliyah. Like, why do we...
So here's what's happening. The Fever kicked off training camp, and immediately, fans started analyzing practice footage frame by frame. The accusation? That Caitlin Clark deliberately refused to shake Raven Johnson's hand during a routine handshake line. And before you dismiss this as meaningless drama, understand what this represents. These two players have history. Caitlin Clark's Iowa team faced Raven Johnson's South Carolina squad in high-stakes NCAA tournament games. Johnson's Gamecocks won a national championship. Clark's fans are intensely protective, and now they're teammates. The Indiana Fever front office put these two players together without apparently considering how their fan bases would interact. That's not just an oversight, that's organizational negligence.
It looked like Raven Johnson backed up to me. I don't know why y'all running around. Let's stop the narrative. People trying to run around and push this mean girl angle on Caitlin Clark. She did not refuse to shake that girl's hand. That's not true. I'm looking at the footage, bro. Let me look one more time. Yeah, bro. I feel like y'all being extra. I don't feel like Caitlin Clark refused to shake her hand, man. I really don't. I really don't.
Watch the footage carefully. Caitlin Clark is moving down the line, giving high fives. Raven Johnson's hand isn't even extended when Clark passes by. Then Johnson steps back slightly, head down. Was this intentional avoidance by Clark? Was Johnson backing away on purpose? Or was this just an awkward moment that means absolutely nothing? The answer doesn't actually matter. What matters is that we're having this conversation at all. The fact that fans are analyzing handshake lines tells you everything about the circus atmosphere the Fever have created. Okay, now look, now we got to take a look at what the people's saying, okay? And this is what I mean when I say, the Indiana Fever have just brought a circus. Y'all just welcomed a circus, man. And this is the type of stuff. This is why you have to think about things before you do them, man. And I really don't think the Indiana Fever thought this thing through, man. Look. I don't think the Indiana Fever thought this through, man. First comment, there's going to be some bullying in the Fever house this season. Fake nice for the camera. I don't even get that. And then you see this person. Why is this CC's fault? Raven stepped back and put her head down. That's what I saw. I did not see Caitlin Clark refuse to shake the girl's hand, bro. I did not see that. I seen Raven Johnson put her head down, take a step back, and Caitlin just kept going. Like, this is nuts, man. This is nuts. Look at the comments flooding social media. There's going to be some bullying in the Fever house this season. Fake nice for the camera. Team chemistry minus 50%. This is the environment before a single regular season game has been played. And here's what makes this particularly problematic. The Fever aren't just dealing with normal basketball fans. Caitlin Clark's fan base operates at a different intensity level. They track everything. They defend everything. They attack anyone they perceive as disrespecting her. When you draft Raven Johnson, a player whose team eliminated Clark from the tournament, you're not just adding a basketball player, you're introducing a potential flashpoint for fan conflict. Did the Fever's front office game this out? Did they sit in a room and ask themselves what happens when these two fan bases collide on social media every single day? Because if they did, they clearly decided the basketball talent was worth the social media chaos.
Once some games start getting played, maybe it'll, you know what I'm saying? Like it'll calm down some. Cause this is extra. I'm not gonna lie. This is extra. This is weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like people going through this and analyzing the handshake lines, I don't really feel like there was nothing there. I don't feel like she ignored Raven Johnson. I don't feel like Raven Johnson intentionally like backed off because Caitlin Clark was coming through the line. I don't feel like it was any of that. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like it's just how things played out. I don't think this was anything malicious on either end. I don't think it was anything intentional on either end. I feel like this is more about nothing, to be honest.
Now let's be clear about something. Based on the actual footage, there's no evidence of intentional disrespect from either player. Raven Johnson had her head down and stepped back slightly. Caitlin Clark was moving through the line at a normal pace. This looks like a simple missed connection, not a personal slight. But perception matters more than reality in the social media age, and the perception is already set. Thousands of people have already decided what they saw. They've already chosen sides. They've already started the narrative that will follow these players all season.
This is the type of things that I don't think the Indiana Fever front office took into account. Okay, I don't think they took these type of things into account. And when you have a superstar like a Caitlin Clark, with history with these players, things are going to be analyzed and things are going to be brought up, especially you talking about South Carolina. I know they be trying to get on Caitlin Clark fans. Them South Carolina fans is nuts. Do y'all be hearing them people on them Twitter?
Think about what happens next. Raven Johnson is a role player, not a star. She's going to have bad shooting nights. Every basketball player does. But when Johnson goes 1 for 7 from the field in a game, it won't just be normal basketball criticism. It'll be Caitlin Clark fans flooding the comments saying she doesn't deserve to be on the team, saying she's taking minutes from players who actually support their star, saying the Fever made a mistake drafting her. That's not a healthy team environment. That's not a situation that leads to championship basketball. That's a powder keg waiting for a spark.
All that, them South Carolina fans are nutcases, bro. They're insane. So it's like when you combine the two, it's just like a clash. And I just don't think they thought it all the way through. But anywho, the Indiana Fever kicked off training camp, man. It appears they are locked and loaded, ready to go. Let's see this here. We got some footage. Caitlin Clark says she's ready to go. No minutes restriction. No minutes restrictions. Okay.
And this is where organizational leadership matters. When you're the Indiana Fever, and you have the biggest star in women's basketball history in terms of fan engagement and media attention, every single decision you make gets magnified. You can't just evaluate talent in a vacuum. You have to consider the ecosystem you're creating. The Fever had options in the draft. They could have selected players without any connection to Clark's college career. They could have avoided potential controversy entirely. Instead, they chose Raven Johnson, a player intrinsically linked to one of the most painful moments in Clark's college career, losing in the Final Four to South Carolina. Maybe they believed the basketball fit was perfect. Maybe they thought the college rivalry would stay in college. Maybe they just didn't think it through at all. But regardless of their reasoning, they're now dealing with the consequences.
Footage, man. Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark, man. The dynamic duo is back, man. The best backcourt in the league is back. Okay, so yeah, man, I think we got some, I don't know, man. I feel like this layup line thing is something that shouldn't really be a topic of conversation, man. I think the main thing is the Indiana Fever are back and it look like they ready to roll. But, you know, I do feel like, hey, the front office has to own some of this. The front office got to own some of this. Okay, you guys should have thought about this stuff. You are supposed to take all things into consideration when you are making a draft selection, and it does not appear that y'all did. And now it is to the point where you got fans on Twitter analyzing practice handshake lines. Who's high-fiving who's not high-fiving who. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Here's what the Fever are actually facing. They've got the most scrutinized player in WNBA history on their roster. Caitlin Clark brings unprecedented attention, unprecedented pressure, and unprecedented fan intensity. Every interaction she has gets analyzed. Every facial expression gets interpreted. Every relationship with teammates gets examined for signs of conflict. That's the reality of having a transcendent star. And it's not Clark's fault. She didn't ask for this level of microscopic analysis, but it exists whether she wants it or not. The Fever's job as an organization is to manage that reality, to create an environment where their star can thrive without constant distraction. Drafting Raven Johnson might have made sense from a pure basketball perspective, but from a team chemistry and media management perspective, it was playing with fire. And now, before the season even starts, they're already getting burned.
They did their due diligence when thinking this thing all the way through. And let's be honest here. Don't let Raven Johnson play in one of these games and go 0 for 4 from 3. Don't, bro. It's gonna be all hell breaking loose on social media. I'm telling you, it's gonna get real petty, real fast. And this is the front office has to take ownership of some of this, and it just is what it is, man. I don't think they like I said, I don't think they thought this all the way through. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think the front office thought this thing all the way through, and that just is what it is. That just is what it is. They didn't do their due diligence to make sure that this would be a smooth situation, in my opinion. But get down in the comments, let me know what you think. Do you think Caitlin Clark ignored Raven Johnson on a handshake? Do you think Raven Johnson intentionally stepped away from her? What do you think? This is Keep the Vision.
Let's talk about what this means for the actual season. The Fever need Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell to form the best backcourt in the league. They need their role players to complement those stars without creating drama. They need their locker room to be unified and focused on winning basketball games. But instead, they're starting the season answering questions about handshake lines. They're dealing with fan warfare on social media. They're managing a narrative that their team has chemistry issues before they've played together in a real game. This is organizational malpractice. When you have a generational talent like Caitlin Clark, your job is to put her in the best possible position to succeed. That means surrounding her with complementary players, yes. But it also means creating a drama-free environment where basketball is the only story. The Fever have failed at that before the season even began. And that failure starts at the top, with a front office that either didn't anticipate this situation or didn't care enough to avoid it. Now, some people will say this is all overblown, that it's just social media noise that doesn't matter, that once games start, everyone will focus on basketball and forget about handshake drama. And maybe they're right. Maybe this blows over completely. But here's the thing about social media controversies in sports. They don't exist in isolation. They create an atmosphere. They influence how fans perceive players. They affect how media members frame their coverage. They seep into the locker room whether players want them to or not. Caitlin Clark and Raven Johnson are professionals. They'll handle this, but they shouldn't have to. The Fever's front office should have protected them from this situation entirely. Here's what makes this situation particularly frustrating. The Indiana Fever have everything they need to be successful. They have Caitlin Clark, the biggest draw in women's basketball. They have Kelsey Mitchell, an established scorer who complements Clark perfectly. They have young talent and cap flexibility. They have a fan base that's more engaged than ever before. But they also have a front office that seems to make decisions without fully considering the consequences. Trading away their head coach mid-season last year, making draft picks that create unnecessary controversy, failing to manage the media circus that surrounds their franchise player. This handshake incident is small in isolation, but it's symptomatic of a larger organizational problem. The Fever aren't thinking 3 steps ahead. They're reacting instead of planning. They're creating problems instead of solving them. And here's the really concerning part. This is just training camp. We haven't even reached the regular season yet. What happens when real pressure arrives? What happens when the Fever hit a losing streak and fans start looking for scapegoats? What happens when Raven Johnson has a bad game in a crucial moment and social media explodes? The Fever's front office needed to anticipate these scenarios. They needed to have a plan for managing the intense scrutiny that comes with having Caitlin Clark on the roster. Instead, they seem surprised that people are analyzing every single interaction involving their star player. That's not good enough. Not for a professional organization. Not in the modern sports media environment. Not when you have the kind of generational talent that can transform your franchise. Think about how other leagues handle superstar players. The NBA protects LeBron James from unnecessary distractions. NFL teams manage the media access around their franchise quarterbacks carefully. Successful organizations understand that managing the environment around their stars is just as important as the on-court talent decisions. The Fever don't seem to have learned that lesson yet. And this handshake controversy is the evidence. Now let's talk about Raven Johnson's perspective for a moment. She's a young player trying to start her professional career. She got drafted by a WNBA team, which is an incredible achievement. She should be focused on proving she belongs at this level, on developing her game, on earning minutes in a competitive rotation. Instead, she's dealing with fan conspiracy theories about whether she's being disrespected by her teammate. She's reading comments from thousands of people who've already decided they don't want her on the team. She's entering a locker room where a significant portion of the fan base views her with suspicion because of college games that are already over. That's not fair to her, and it's not a situation the Fever should have put her in. The same goes for Caitlin Clark. She should be focused on her rookie season, on adjusting to the WNBA level, on building chemistry with her new teammates. Instead, she's got to navigate this minefield of fan expectations and media scrutiny, where every interaction gets overanalyzed. Neither player deserves this. But the Fever's front office created this situation anyway. So here's the question the Fever need to answer. Was drafting Raven Johnson worth all of this? Was her basketball talent so superior to other available options that it justified creating this media circus? Did they have a plan for managing the inevitable fan conflict, or did they just hope it wouldn't happen? Because from the outside, it looks like they didn't think this through at all. It looks like they made a basketball decision without considering the non-basketball implications. And in the modern sports world, that's organizational negligence. The handshake line incident itself is meaningless. Two players had an awkward moment during a routine practice activity. It happens every day in every sport. But the reaction to it, the intensity of the fan response, the immediate creation of competing narratives, that's not meaningless. That's a symptom of a larger problem the Fever have created for themselves. And the really frustrating part, this was completely avoidable. The Fever could have drafted differently. They could have avoided putting two players with complicated fan dynamics on the same roster. They could have protected both Caitlin Clark and Raven Johnson from this situation. They chose not to. And now they're dealing with the consequences before the season even starts. So what happens next? The Fever play their first game, and everyone watches how Clark and Johnson interact. Every pass between them gets analyzed. Every celebration or lack thereof gets interpreted. Every substitution pattern gets examined for evidence of conflict. That's the environment the Fever have created. That's what happens when you don't think 3 steps ahead. That's what organizational failure looks like in the social media age. The Indiana Fever have the pieces to be a great basketball team, but they also have a front office that keeps creating unnecessary problems. And until that changes, they're going to keep dealing with circus situations like this handshake controversy. This didn't have to happen, but it did, and the Fever's front office has nobody to blame but themselves. They should have thought about this before they made the decision they made. Now they're stuck managing a controversy that never needed to exist in the first place. So here's my question for you. Do you think the Fever's front office failed here? Should they have avoided drafting Raven Johnson specifically because of the college history with Caitlin Clark? Or is this all overblown social media nonsense that doesn't actually matter? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let me know if you think the Fever thought this through or if they're just winging it. Like and subscribe if you want more WNBA analysis, because this season is going to be wild.